Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about the Illinois Guide by Your Side policy and procedure as part of your pre-training as a new guide. And we've already gone through the pre-test questions, so we're going to pass that. And we're going to start going through the policy and procedure manual, and what I've done is I've highlighted key areas of the manual that I wanted to make sure that we just touched on tonight. You will receive the whole entire manual, so if you have some light reading that you want to get done, you can certainly go through the whole entire thing. So Guide by Your Side was brought to Illinois by 3 organizations, the Illinois Chapter of Hands and Voices, Choices for Parents, and our Illinois EDDI program, and EDDI is Early Hearing Detection and Intervention Program. And they're the ones that are responsible for making sure that all the newborns in Illinois are screened, and then if anyone does not pass the test, they are followed up on and made sure that they have the diagnostic screening, and then depending on those results, enrolled in early intervention and so forth. The role of the guide. So families are matched with either guides in their region or sometimes a guide from a different region if that match is more appropriate. For instance, Spanish-speaking would be working with families outside of their region because of the native language. The role of the guides is to provide one-on-one support with each family that they are matched with, and they should attempt to at least have one meeting in person. But otherwise, contacts can be made through the telephone, TTY, internet, video phone, etc. So pretty much any type of contact is acceptable from us. Monthly contact between the guide and the family must be made in order for the family's file to remain open or active. A family's file will be closed once the family feels that the guide or that they've had appropriate support, or when no active contact has been made for 3 months. A guide must only make contact with the family within the scope of your role as a guide. So again, we discussed the other day about going to an IEP and whatnot, things outside of really the realm of our job that are not appropriate. Any contact made with the family outside of that role, the guide is not representing Guide by Your Side. And the reason why we do that is we don't want to be attending an IEP meeting and then have the IEP meeting go bad and then have it reflect poorly on Guide by Your Side for maybe the family's actions and so forth. So if you decide that you do want to go with them, you got to make sure they understand and that you don't represent or announce yourself as a Guide by Your Side parent guide at that meeting. So when follow-up with the family occurs, it's crucial that the information was provided in a unbiased manner. And I know I can probably say that in my sleep, and I'm sure you probably have heard it a zillion times already. But it's very important that you know how to share your story, but then also provide that unbiased support so that families can make decisions on their own that work for their own family. If there is ever an issue with the program, with me, with anything, please know that you are welcome to bring it to my attention or to bring it to the Coalition Director at Choices for Parents, which is Karen Aguilar, and then we will make sure to act on that complaint or grievance. And then, obviously no alcohol, drugs, or smoking with the family and so forth. I'm just getting to the meats and potatoes. Gifts. If a family wants to make a donation to the program, you would direct them towards me. Obviously accepting a brand new car from a family is not appropriate. I don't think that would happen, but you never know. However, if they bake you a plate of brownies, that is fine. It's up to you. Keep in mind that the dress code is business casual. It is less formal than business, but still represents a reasonable level of professionalism. So we are not talking ripped jeans or anything like that, even if the style is trendy. You can wear jeans, just make sure that they are nice and clean. They are not hanging off your bottom. And again, your shirts and stuff, making sure that they're appropriate, not see-through, or again, not representing a company. For instance, your child wears a cochlear brand implant and you're wearing that brand's T-shirt. That would not be appropriate for the family because, again, it does not show you as unbiased. So please keep in mind what you wear, especially at the training. We want to make sure that we represent ourselves well. Now, you don't have to be in a three-piece suit, but again, just make sure you look nice and clean. If something, if you're questioning whether it's appropriate or not, then probably just err on the side of caution and just don't go with it and choose something else. All right, so following the proper clothing, it would be the cell phone. Please turn your phone off or vibrate when you go and meet with a family. Let your family know where you're at so they're not trying to contact you to figure out where you're at. Take that guessing out of the game and just tell them before you even leave. But we don't certainly want to be dinging during our meeting with the family because our phone is coming in with incoming emails or text messages or so forth. So we don't want to have the family feel like they're not important to us. And we don't want to be distracted either from the conversation. So reviews. Every parent guide will receive an annual review. In the past, we've always done them through the end of, I think we start usually at the end of May through the month of June. And even you guys who, obviously won't be here a full year or anything by that time, we just get everyone on the same time schedule. And at this time, there are 5 categories that are scored, and then the parent guide also offers their own feedback. I don't know if we're going to continue with that review form. There was a new one released by National, and I'm not sure if we're going to take that one on or not. But just know that we do look at your commitment to the program. We look at your ongoing training attendance. We do try to get feedback from families and professionals that you work with, and we also look at the timeliness of your submittal of items. So are you submitting timesheets regularly? Are you submitting progress notes regularly? Are you quick to respond with emails and so forth? So when visiting the home, please again respect the religious and cultural beliefs of the family. Again, not drinking alcohol or smoking while you're there, but be prepared. They might have you remove your shoes, so be prepared if you need to do so. If you ever feel that it is unsafe to visit a home, please notify me and don't hesitate to suggest to the family to meet with them, okay? We, above all, want you to be and feel safe doing this job. So phone contacts with the family. When making calls, please remember to turn off television, decrease the background noise. Try not to use a speakerphone if you are not by yourself. We don't want your family hearing the conversation. Try to remove a private room if that is the case. And remember to have pen and paper, something available to take notes so that, again, you could be working on those progress notes while you're with the family and using one less step after the conversation is finished. The reason we do that is so that you have something to refer to the next time you call that family. If you have told the family you're going to send them something, you have a note to remind you to do so that ensuring that you're not leaving the family hanging. Emails. Please make sure that informal emails or forwarded stories or whatnot are not sent on to your families. And again, making sure that families are not your friends on Facebook, and we've discussed that before as well too, or any other social media. After your professional relationship as a guide with the family is complete, you can choose to stay in touch through networking sites such as that. Never ask families to share health information online, and make sure that your emails do not include quotes, religious thoughts, or pictures. Keep them nice and clean. And then, again, remember when you're writing emails to keep the reading level at a 6th grade or lower. Not everyone is maybe where we're at, and so we want to make sure that we are able to communicate with them and not set a barrier between us and the family. This is the email signature that you should set up in your Guide by Your Side email account, and there were instructions in a previous webinar on how to do so. If you're going out of town, please make sure you set up that auto reply so that they know that you're out of town, and then always let me know if you're going out of town as well. Please remember to keep all paperwork and communication with families confidential because of the HIPAA, FERPA, and Part C privacy rules. And if you want to look into those more in depth, you can go to infanthearing.org and do so. For reimbursement for in-person services, you would be paid for your time with the family. So if you're there with the family for an hour, you get paid for that. But then you would also get paid travel time. So if you're going to a family and they're 15 miles from your home and it's 30 miles round trip, we convert the mile to a minute. So 30 minutes, 30 miles equals 30 minutes. You would bill for 30 minutes travel time and then 1 hour family time, giving you a total for that line on your timesheet of an hour and a half. If you are traveling less than 15 miles round trip, you would not bill because we only bill at quarter hours. However, if it's like 11 miles, you could round up and do the 15. I'm fine with that. And always remember that we do round up or round down when appropriate. We always bill by 15-minute increments. If your travel is over 150 miles round trip, you need approval before you go. And sometimes we are able to reimburse for maybe additional expenses, food or lodging. That's really extreme. Usually you're not matched so far out that you would need that. But if you wanted to ask, certainly you could, and we could see what we could do. Please remember to turn in timesheets regularly. You cannot be reimbursed for anything beyond 45 days from the date of the service. So making sure that you're not submitting timesheets more than 45 days out from the date that you provided that service. You would still need to submit so we know that in order to budget for the next year that how much time you've used, but it may not be able to get paid, okay? But I think so far all of you have been pretty good about being regular on that. Referring a family. For the most part, guides cannot serve a family without that family speaking with me first. The only exception to that rule is Spanish-speaking families. I obviously do not speak Spanish fluently, so I do not do the intake with the family. Lucy and Lydia at this time would do that directly with the family and then start to work with them. Everyone else, that answer or question in the post-test, I hope that you know that you cannot do the intake with them and start assign them to yourself. That all gets done through me. All right, so encouraging contact with professionals. We encourage you to reach out to local professionals. The purpose of that is to introduce yourself and the program to them. We've done a lot of this over the years, and in the past we've asked each guide to do 3 professionals in their area and then an expo. This year we really didn't hold true to that because of some changes in the budget, but also because of reaching out to them, those providers, so regularly over the last couple years. So please know that if you find something that you think would make a good outreach, don't hesitate to bring it up and ask if you could participate in that. You know, it's always better to ask, and, you know, we go from there. Obviously, the more contacts that we make, the more connections with professionals, the more referrals we get, and then the more families that you as guides are matched with. So please keep that in mind too. hopefully comes full circle. When you're making contact with a family, you should make sure that you contact them by phone within 48 hours of talking to me and receiving the referral from me. When you talk and meet with the family, you will listen to what their needs are, share resources, answer questions, and then fill out the progress note. When you're done with the family, you would notify me that I need to close the family's file. I will then close their file, sending them an evaluation and a letter stating their files are closed, and any comments that do come back from the families will be shared with the guide who provided the support. Progress notes. Again, progress notes are turned in at the beginning of each quarter, so July 1st, October 1st, January 1st, April 1st. Whether the case is open or closed, you would turn in your progress notes to me so I can see that you're maintaining contact with the families. Again, it is recommended that you maintain communication at least once a month with each referred family in order to keep their file open or active. Once a family feels that they've received all the support that they need, we can close their file as well. If no contact has been made, no active contact has been made for 3 months, then we can also close the file, and we can do two different ways. We can send them a card saying that, hey, we haven't heard from you in 3 months, and we can close your file unless we hear from you by this date. And you would just need to let me know which families and what card to send to them. We do use send-out cards, and I do have several different situations where you can send families cards, and I will send that flyer to you so you can take a look at that. But you would just tell me the name and address of the family and what card you want me to send. I will send it out to you. I will tell you when I send it out to you. And then when that date comes of them, did they get back in touch with you or not, you just let me know so I can know how to proceed with their file. Again, when interacting with families, do not address religion or press our religious beliefs onto the family. In addition, we don't promote or endorse business or items or communication choices or anything related to hearing loss. We have to say even Steven. And when they do ask for resources, again, stick to the three rule. Make sure that you try to give them 3 different cochlear implant companies or 3 different hearing aid companies and so forth, so that they feel like they have the options and then can make the choice themselves. Let's see. So when sharing resources with families, more than one option or resource should be shared with them. Again, important that they receive unbiased information, not in favor of particular professional or communication choice. And again, sharing the 3 resources. Again, the initial contact with families, reaching them within 48 hours, introducing yourself as a guide with guide by your side. Sometimes you might want to give them a 1 to 2 minute overview, telling them how you can communicate with them, you know, letting them know it's okay for them to text you if they want to talk, if that's okay by you. Also, again, sharing with them that you need to touch base with them once a month in order to keep their file open. If we're clear on this with the families, hopefully that line of communication will stay open. We highly recommend at least one interaction with the family being in person, but we understand that if schedules don't allow or if distance is an issue, that sometimes that is not possible. Please, please, please make sure that even though you have a scheduled visit, that you do confirm it with the family by text or email and so forth, 24 to 48 hours before the visit. You don't want to get there and find out that they forgot and are at the store. So please make sure that you confirm appointments. And that can even be true for if you set up a time to talk with them next month by phone. Text them that day. Can't wait to talk to you tonight at 8 o'clock. Remind them that that is going to be happening. A lot of the families that I'm doing intakes with now say it's perfectly fine to text them, and I'm putting that on the intake form. So if that's okay with the family, don't hesitate to do so if you're comfortable with that. Please, 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 please do not solely rely on emailing families. Not every family lives and dies by their email account like we may. You never know if they're having issues with their internet and they're not receiving emails. You don't know if maybe their internet has been disconnected. So you're emailing them thinking that I'm doing a great job keeping in touch. Every month I send them an email saying, hey, how are you doing? But I never hear back from them. For all you know, there might be some other reason they're not receiving any of those messages, and now they're upset and fuming because they've never heard from their parent guide. We have had this situation. Please do not solely rely on email. So suggested strategies for communicating with families. Please be a good, active listener. Let the family lead the discussion. I know that we think that this role is because of our experience, but it is not going to be all about our experience. Empower the parents to do it on their own. If you don't know the answer, do not make one up. And always respect their cultural and ethnic values. Do not impose your values or your beliefs. Do not bring your children, again, if they ask to meet your children, talk that through with me. Try to do something like at an event where they meet your family that way. Try not to socialize, excessively, because then that takes away from the true meaning of the visit. But then don't go in there with your clipboard and your checklist and overwhelm or think, maybe shut the door between you and the family. Do not exclude other members of the family, siblings, grandparents, and so forth. Please, you never know what might help that family move along. And don't expect perfection from the parents. If you've given them resources and they haven't reached out to those resources, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe they don't have time, maybe it's something else. But don't expect them to do everything that you would wish that they would do. Ongoing trainings. Again, you have to continue on with our monthly webinars. You need to have 80% of them at your yearly review completed, so 80% or more. Typically, we have 10 a year, so 80% would be attending 8 out of the 10. And if you attend them live, the night that they are held, then you would bill for the 1 hour. If you are not live on the call, then and access the recording, if a recording is available, then that time would not be paid, but you would need to do so in order to complete and be at that 80% level. Keep in mind, when we have our calls, we are at the mercy of the call line. Sometimes there's a bad connection. Sometimes the recording service doesn't work. So I have every intention of recording, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Okay? So try your best to make the meetings. The other thing, too, is sometimes we don't record meetings. For instance, we will do a team call that is just team catch-up. We talk amongst ourselves what's going on with our families that we work with, what's going on with our families in our own family. And in those case scenarios, we do not record those. All right, let's see. If there's an issue with a family and you're not quite sure where to go or what to do, please don't hesitate to contact me, and then we will work it out from there. If you're unsure where to find resources, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and even our group, our Yahoo group of guides. We're here to support each other. You don't know what everyone else knows, so don't assume that no one else is going to know. I'd say throw it out there, and you never know what you're going to get back. It's kind of like a boomerang. All right, so overall, here's my job description, which is kind of funny because I do a lot more than what's here. But Overall, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just a lot of stuff. And then here you guys go. This is what you are supposed to be doing. Again, I think that you guys know what you're supposed to be doing. And I think we get into the questions and moving on to the post-test. Any questions, guys, with what we ran through tonight? I didn't go through every single page of the policy and procedure. I just did highlights on the key points. But any questions on any of that? All right, we're going to move on to the post-test, and you can just type in your answer in the chat box. Number 1, the Illinois GBYS program was started in Illinois by 4 organizations. True or false? Perfect. Number 2, you can communicate with your family by A, phone, B, email, C, instant message, D, Skype, E, in person, or F, all of the above. Okay. Number 3, guides must have bi-monthly contact with their families in order for the family's files to remain open and active. True or false? Question 4. Progress notes should be turned in A, as soon as they are written, B, at the start of each new quarter, or C, at the end of the month. Question 5. If your computer in which you store GBYS information breaks, you should A, discard the computer and get a new one as soon as possible, B, purge the computer of any information before discarding, C, move all your files to another family member's computer, or D, all of the above. Question 6. As a guide, you can enroll a family to start meeting with you at any time. True or false? All right, excellent. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.